Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dale, Lauren Frey, Grim Clover, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So I was about to do a reaction video to Angry Joe's Summer Game Fest, or rather, Angry Joe's reaction to the Summer Game Fest. I have no idea what the Summer Game Fest was, but apparently it was like some showing where like Jeff Keighley organized a bunch of developers to like showcase off a bunch of games. Like it seemed like a pseudo replacement for E3 or something. Like Jeff Keighley's not satisfied with just making the gaming Oscars. He wants to make the new E3 too, like entirely under his like evil Dorito covered palms, like thumbs. Like that is what Jeff Keighley tried to do, apparently. And apparently, most people were very, very unhappy because Summer Game Fest was a complete disaster. They showed off The Last of Us. They showed off, like, Spider-Man PC. They showed off, like, all this shit that no one cares about. It was so bad that I personally didn't even watch it, right? And the whole Angry Joe thing, I was thinking that, like, okay, maybe I could kill two birds with one stone. I could watch this Angry Joe reaction and just do a I could just do a reaction video to Angry Joe's reaction video to the Summer Game Fest and like commentate on both like what we were seeing on screen and talk about Joe's reactions to them, because I thought that might have been like a little bit interesting, and I still kind of do. But I kind of, when I was watching it, I did a little bit of a screening, pre-screening. It was like kind of a long video, like an hour and 45 minutes. First of all, there was nothing really to react to because like there were no games announced in the showing that I wanted to see. So like it felt like a complete waste of my time. So like I'm scrolling through it. I'm considering that like maybe I'll do a highlight reel and just react to certain tidbits and talk about Neil Druckmann and how the industry is still trying to promote him and stuff like that. But all of that gave way completely when I saw Angry Joe's face. When I heard his voice, when I saw how unenthusiastic he was about everything that was going on in the show, I was completely taken aback by it, honestly. Like, this is a motherfucker who does not want to be live streaming at all. Like, every single reaction video where he's not, like, doing a movie review, like, he looks, like, so dead inside. He looks so done with everything. He's just sitting there with, like, his two lackeys, Other Joe and Alex. Alex, who I personally hate more than Joe, honestly, like sitting with his two lackeys, just giving these extremely unenthusiastic reactions to everything on screen. Like he has nothing interesting to add. It's just a cheap reaction video with no real content behind it. And still, I skipped the Nintendo portion actually because Nintendo had a little bit of a spot where they showcased a handful of games: Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, and Joe's just like, yeah, he basically just sits there like this, and he's just like, Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Monster Hunter Rise, Nintendo. Oh no, he doesn't smile. Excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm letting my own personal happiness get in the way of Angry Joe's actual reaction. How did he do it? He's like, well, Nintendo, I'd love to cover these games, but Nintendo is just going to copyright our content and send us to jail. That is legit what he said. Like, it's gone beyond, like, oh, man, Nintendo's flagging all of our content. They're taking everything down. We can't cover them at all. Like, on the Angry Joe show, even though, like, other YouTubers, including this guy, are doing so with no problems. No. If Angry Joe were to cover Nintendo content, he would be sent straight to prison. Like, shit, like, Nintendo apparently has so much control and power over the gaming industry that they could send Angry Joe straight to prison if he dares use gameplay footage of one of their games in any of his videos. I want this to be more well known because I don't think a lot of people have picked up on this, because there is just no way this is true. Nintendo isn't copyright claiming anything. And when we do see other companies copyright Angry Joe, like they are with the Halo TV show reviews, for example, like he continues covering the material anyway. So, like, it seems really strange to me that he keeps insisting that the reason he's not covering Nintendo is due to copyright claims, when, first of all, nobody else is getting those copyright claims, and secondly, like, you're covering other material that you are getting copyright claim for. Like, it makes no sense. It is inconsistent. It can't be true, is what I'm getting at. So, like, it feels like Angry Joe is angry that Nintendo is not paying him to cover their products. That's kind of the impression I get. Like, every time I see this guy, like, do live streams of certain games or cover certain content or go over certain things, like, it is entirely because he is being sponsored or he has some kind of agenda he wants to push, right? Like, it is insane to see the links he goes to keep this narrative going, like, after so long, right? Like, I don't think it was ever true, honestly, because I never heard anyone aside from him complaining about this. I personally had no problems with Nintendo when it comes to copyright. Like, and you all know that I play Nintendo games on this channel all the time, right? That's my game gimmick. But Joe is just like, it always insisting that Nintendo is, like, up to no good, and it's just, huh? Like, really? Are they? What are they doing? Like, it's like, why don't you make a video about that, Joe? Oh, I forgot. You don't like making videos about video games. Oh, that's right. It's too much work. It's too much effort. You have no time. You're too busy, like, sucking James Rolfe's dick, right? Like, you're channeling his energy. Like, and again, that's what it comes down to, I think, is that something I think most Angry Joe fans are not really picking up on is that Angry Joe is following the same exact pattern that James Rolfe did, in which he's bringing on these uncharismatic fucks onto his channel. Unlike James, he kind of had the foresight to see that, like, Delruth was causing viewers to duck out, so he, like, got rid of him and replaced him with Alex, who, you know, is, I guess he's better than Delruth, but that's really not saying much. He had the foresight to, like, kind of stave off, like, a lot of the criticisms back when they were, like, really rising up against him. In 2018 or 2017, I would say, with, like, the increasing Game of Thrones coverage and the movie reviews instead of, like, talking about actual video games, like, he managed to handle that fairly well. There was an initial, like, backlash, but, like, it seems to have been quashed or quelled. I don't see a lot of other people talking about this, but I do think it is getting worse. Like, the actual core problem that Angry Joe does not care about video games is so adamantly obvious, so clearly obvious to me, like, even watching his videos out of context. Like, someone who hasn't been subscribed to him in years at this point, who doesn't actively follow his content, who is just kind of, like, maybe thinking that, like, oh yeah, I would like to see what Angry Joe is up to. I would like to be the person to expose him for this specific thing, his anti-Nintendo agenda, we should call it. I would love to do that. I would love to destroy this guy. He's been doing this stuff for years and needs to be called out on it. It can't last. It can't keep going on. Like, he can't keep doing these Sleepy Joe reviews and like, just sleepwalk through, like, his reactions like this. Like, he has nothing interesting to say. Like, it's like the James Rolfe thing. Like, if you don't want to be there, like, just don't fucking do it. Just say, like, the channel is over and you're moving on with your life. But he can't do that because he has no skill set. He has nothing else. Like, all he has is this channel that has, like, subsided him for years, like, giving him, like, an upper class income, you know, bitches from European countries. You know, he regularly bangs Twitch thoughts. He meets at conventions and stuff like that for clout, that are interacting with him for clout. Like, there's things like that, you know, that, like, make it very, very difficult for him to move away from this scene. But he's older now, bro. Like, he's in his mid-30s, I think. Like, he's approaching 40. I'm sure he's, like, at least 35. Like, you know, unmarried, no real future, no real career spot. Is he really going to continue doing this for, like, the next 10 years? I don't think so. It's the same thing as, like, James Rolfe. Like, he's clearly on the edge, nearing the end of his career, but he has to keep going. And because like he has such a devoted fan base, like it feels almost like he's going to keep going farther than most people would let him until like unless there's like some insane backlash regarding some of his opinions. I could see like his political takes being like off-putting to some people. I know they are in my case. I I could see it being anything. Like he could like say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or refuse to cover the wrong thing, and that's gonna like be a major blow against his channel. It is inevitable that Angry Joe and all gaming YouTubers become irrelevant because talking about video games on the internet is never going to be a viable career.